Let's just take a look at the Minardi problems, shall we? And a horrible incident for Alex Young.
Well, you could see they went right over the sort of the hard-toothed curb there, and right on the pressure point of that front wing. You saw the front of the Minardi came up as the front wing came away. This had happened in the morning when the car went along the straight to his teammate, but it was a different wing. But you can see how the thing reared up as well, and of course, Paul Stoddart then had to fly parts back and get them strengthened, and a different problem again today.
Absolutely. We're going to talk to Paul Stoddart in just a moment, but here is Alex Young talking then to Ted Kravitz about the sort of problem really that every driver dreads.
Alex, that looked pretty hairy. What was it like from where you were sitting?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, you can normally use a lot of curb on the exit there, and hit the curb, and just the front picked up, and all I saw was sky for a while. So I think we hit the curb a bit harder than expected, so you know the team's looking into it, and obviously we will make sure it's all nice and safe. There are lots of things we can do to correct it.
Well, welcome, Paul. Since he spoke there, just tell us, first of all, what you did to correct it and what you did to try and allow your cars to run here today.
Basically, Jim, we have had a bad weekend, it's fair to say, but the failure that Mark had first in the session yesterday was a failure, and we took that very seriously. With two types of wings we were running, we withdrew the first type, and Alex was actually running a new type of wing. But as he said in his interview, he actually hit the curb very hard. Now, we reviewed the tapes.
What we're seeing here is this morning at Mark Webber and the wing coming off at around about 190 miles an hour, and you there looking very concerned indeed. And at that stage, had you virtually decided that you wouldn't race, you wouldn't put your cars in this afternoon?
Really, yes, Jim. I mean, you know, I had to make a decision. The decision was a tough one, a very tough one. We've now, with the benefit of time, found out what actually happened to the rear wing, and I can just show you here.
Yeah, Tony, you've got a wing there.
On this. The wing actually broke along this line here, which is a stress line, and although it's the same wing that we've ran all year and in testing, we've never had a problem, even if bumpy circuits like Brazil. One we put on Mark's car this morning was a brand new wing, and we've now got both pieces back, which we didn't have at the time I was withdrawing the cars, and we can see where it actually broke, why it broke, and the problem will be solved. But my duty is really to not just my drivers, all the other drivers out there as well, so it would have been irresponsible to start the race. Unlike yesterday, we had 24 hours to sort it out. We could stress test the cure and fix it. Today we didn't.
Yeah, let's just have a word with Mark Webber, shall we? He was really shell-shocked when he spoke to Louise Goodman moments after that crash.
Mark, a very scary moment for you.
Yeah, we don't know what's going on. We've obviously had another problem with the rear wing. Well, our first problem with the rear wing. And some issues yesterday, so obviously until we have a good look at what's going down here, we don't know what to, you know, we don't want to draw any conclusions. We've just got to check out what it is. Obviously something's not quite working right. And got to stand by the boys and make sure they get it right.
As a boss, your main concern must be for your driver's safety, mustn't it?
It has to be, Jim. I mean, you know, we now are sure, as I said, that we've got 6 other wings here, 7 actually, 7 other wings here that don't have that same problem. It was a new one this morning, but it still would have been wrong to race today.
Alex Young didn't make it last time out into the starting grid. How big a blow is it to your whole season, this?
Well, we've had tremendous start to the season in Melbourne, and I think everybody remembers that. Probably the most popular 2 points in the history of Formula One, I think. You have your good days, you have your bad days. There's enough bad days in racing, so you know we're happy for the Melbourne-type scenarios, and we've got to work towards making that happen again. But yeah, I mean, Mark had a good race in him, so it sort of balanced a little bit Alex's problems, and today, just one of those days.
Just one final point. We had Eddie Jordan sitting where you are yesterday in our qualifying show complaining about the costs of Formula One racing. How costly is this for you?
Well, I can tell you that little episode of flying planes all around the sort of Europe last night cost me well over 100 grand, so it is expensive. But Formula One, I think, has to take a look at its future. It has to look very seriously at the way the wealth of Formula One is distributed, because it would be a very boring situation for us to end up with half a dozen teams competing as opposed to what we've got today. I think we need everybody, and we've got to work towards a long-term solution for Formula One.
Paul, thanks for joining us, and better luck in a couple of weeks' time in Austria.